Mr. Chair, you are now live.
All right, thanks. Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the regularly scheduled virtual meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, and it is 7:02 p.m. We have all board members present tonight, including Vice Chairman Lawrence Harris, Dick Peterson, Kia Baskerville, Elizabeth Conger, and my name is Jimmy Praley. Also present with us tonight, we have the City Attorney Michael Lyles and Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines. First order of business, has the board reviewed the minutes of January 6, 2021? If so, any additions, corrections, or modifications?
I move they be accepted.
A second.
All right, approval of the minutes has been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, the minutes will stand as approved. Now, before we get into our regular business, we'd like to state that for the record, since this is a virtual hearing, anybody who is wishing to submit public testimony may do so by way of written testimony to be submitted as part of the official record. Anyone wishing to submit written testimony may do so by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. And with that, I will declare the public hearing open. First item on the agenda is an application for a new license for Curate Annapolis LLC, trading as Curate Annapolis. We have an application for a new Class B4 AB beer and light wine license on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during hours. In addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours by Joel Bunker and Colleen Bunker for the new entity known as Curate Annapolis LLC, trading as Curate Annapolis, located at 141 West Street, Unit 102, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. And I see we have a masked Mr. Lyman here on behalf of the applicant. Mr. Lyman, if you could introduce yourself and the applicants and whoever's with you in your office for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Praley. My name is Brian Lyman, Lyman, and I have with me the applicants seated back and to my left, Mr. Bunker and Ms. Bunker, Joel and Colleen, and then we have Lisa Simple, who's going to be their, I think, head curator, I think is going to be the term I'm going to use tonight. We'll tell you a little bit more about her role. And we also have Stephanie Squires, who's the pastry chef. I'm not sure if she's activated her camera. Maybe we can get Julian to help us with introducing her. I've not spoken to her, so we may just surprise her.
Cindy, before we get started. You're muted, Cindy.
The names and addresses of the people that you're going to.
Yeah, I was going to swear them in and then get everybody's name and address. So if everybody who's planning on testifying tonight could raise their right hand, I'll administer the oath. Stephanie, I don't know if you can get your camera on if you're planning on testifying. So that's possible.
He was working earlier, but I'm not sure what's going on now.
Okay. Well,
She was here to mainly answer questions from the board if necessary, but.
Okay, I guess we can swear her in at the appropriate time if necessary, if she does need to answer questions. But everybody else, please keep those hands up. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And if everybody, starting with Mr. Bunker, moving to my right, his left, could state names and addresses for the record.
My name is Joel Bunker. My address is 1804 Beverage Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland 21403.
And my name is Colleen Bunker. My address is 1804 Beverage Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland 21403.
And my name is Lisa Templey. My address is 167 Green Street, and that's 21401.
And Stephanie, I'm going to presume that you raised your right hand and were sworn in as well. Can you just state your name and address for the record in case we have any questions for you?
Stephanie Squires, 12765 Orchard Drive, Cordova, Maryland, 21625.
Great. Cindy, you get all that? All right, excellent. All right, Mr. Lyman, the floor is yours. You can proceed by way of proffer, or you can ask questions, or a combination of both.
I'd prefer to proceed by proffer, if that's okay with you, Ms. Fraley.
Perfectly fine.
First off, I'd like to note for the record that the property was properly advertised in accordance with the board's rules and regulations and the code requirements. And I believe that I sent Cindy a photograph of the posting visible from the street. I'd like that incorporated with the formal record if possible. I also would like to incorporate the written statement and all materials filed with the original application into the record to make sure that we've got a complete record. I also understand, although I don't believe I'm privy to all of the submissions and comments that perhaps have been made to the board, but I would like at this point to move all of those materials in before the board. I believe there were perhaps some letters of support. I know that Mr. Bunker and I submitted some petitions signed by local residents and folks who are in support of the application. I'd just like to make sure we've got those items moved into the record. I don't know if I need to identify them by exhibit numbers or what have you, or if we can just move that all in as a package.
That's fine. Everything that's been submitted to the board will be part of the record.
Thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about Joel and Colleen Bunker. They are what I will proffer are fit and proper applicants to hold this license. I've made them familiar with the board's rules and regulations. I have spoken with them about the business that they intend to operate. And I do believe they understand the duties and responsibilities that go with the privilege should the board choose to issue this license. They have a unique concept, I think, that the city, I think, would greatly benefit from. Their business is called Curate Annapolis, and I think Joel succinctly put it to me that they're going to try to focus on bread and drink. And partly that has to do with their limited kitchen space. I discussed that a little bit in the written statement. The written statement, lets the board look at all the factors that you need to look at under both the code and the board's submission requirements. And I think that it does adequately address those issues. But I would like to just kind of run through what their concept is and why they believe the liquor license is appropriate. They're planning a restaurant with 40 seats. This is all new construction in a Bizzuto condominium located right on West Street. It's right next to Council Burial, the law office, and across from what I used to know as the Lowe's Hotel, kind of a little catty corner to the Lowe's Hotel. I believe it's got a new name that I'm not up to speed on. The Graduate Hotel, my clients informed me. And it really is a solid location, I think, for them, and something that they can offer and bring to that inner West Street corridor is this concept of having pastries and breakfast available with coffee in the morning. And then they're going to focus their offerings to the public on curating food and drink choices and really limiting the selection to particular and really notable pairings between food offerings and the beverage offerings. Part of their model would be to offer craft beer and wine offerings to go, and that's why they need the off-sale component on this license. I do believe that they have a good support within the community. Even in the COVID environment, they were able to generate a fair number of signatures. I don't think I have a final tally on that, but I would ask the board to have a look at the petition in support, which I believe goes towards showing that there is a public need for this accommodation. And I would note that Joel and Colleen are active Annapolitans. They run another business in town, the Brown Mustache Coffee Company over on Maryland Avenue. They really see this as a sort of a vocational extension of what they can provide to the community. I believe all of the paperwork is in order. I'm happy to try to answer questions about the corporate form or the investors, who I believe the applications are properly on file to show their investment group. And I believe they are fit and proper applicants. I'm happy to hand it over to any kind of logistical questions to the applicants. And I would just ask for the record that they affirm that all of the assertions made in their applications are still true and correct today as they were when they submitted the application. If you do that, Joel?
We affirm that.
And Colleen?
Affirm.
Okay. With that, I'm happy to try to address any questions. I'm cognizant the board has a potentially lengthy docket, and I don't want to unduly take time presenting what could turn into an advertisement for what I hope is a great, successful business. So.
Well, that is very much appreciated, Mr. Lyman. In your letter to the board, you note that the current plans call for 40 seats. That's all you guys are planning on having. I'm guessing that the space will not accommodate anymore.
That's correct.
They got as many seats in there as they could.
Yeah, right. I can only imagine. And is there going to be any outdoor seating?
Yeah, I mean, just with COVID and things going on, we're planning on getting a permit and trying to bump out, do some cafe seating.
Now, but after the state of emergency, are you planning on having outdoor seats as well? Is there going to be a sidewalk cafe element? Okay. Okay. And now, Mr. and Ms. Bunker, are you both going to be involved in the day-to-day operations of this business? I know that Mr. Lyman alluded to the fact that you both have other businesses in the area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And since neither of you have held alcoholic beverage licenses before, have you had the opportunity to review our board's rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any questions about those? If so, feel free to reach out to Cindy at the board or to Mr. Lyman as well. I would encourage you to do that. Mr. Lyles?
When you're finished, Mr. Chair, I had a couple of questions on the application that were unclear to me.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Mr. Lyman, I had a question on the application, page 2, number 13. And part of this is probably the way that the form is drafted. It's kind of confusing. It asked the question, have the licensees ever held a license for the sale of alcoholic beverages? And the check was false. So I'm not sure whether that's a no or a yes, and we'll correct the form, but I just want to be clear that this question is a no or yes answer. Which is it?
So it is a no. They have not previously held an alcoholic beverage license.
Great, wonderful. Okay.
False was closer to no than
yeah.
true. So
yeah, we'll correct. Cindy, could you make a note? We're going to correct that. The other one is number 14. No person except the licensees is in any way pecuniary interested in the license applied for. And again, the answer is false. It probably should be yes or no, but it's false. And then you've got percentages for licensees at 25 and 5, which don't equal 100%. So who else is interested, if anybody?
Right. So that information is contained in my written statement. They have a financing group that owns a majority of this LLC. It's actually a longtime family friend of Joel, as I understand it, who are located out of state and who are not officially licensees, given that there's only the 2 authorized persons for the LLC to be licensees. And they're trusting the Bunkers to operate the establishment. So that's why the number 14 is filled out, and it appears to only add up to 30%, because it does add up to 30%, because 70% of this enterprise is owned by those investors.
Right. So just to be clear for the board, when it says no person except the licensee in any way has a pecuniary interest, the answer is, and it's written confusingly, the answer is yes, there is another interest in this business.
Correct. It's sort of rather than a double negative,
right.
The way that you stated, Mr. Lyles, is a positive. Yes, Dr. and Mrs. Grubb hold the 70% interest in this LLC, and they are pecuniarily interested in this license.
Understood. Okay. So I just wanted the board to be clear of that this confusing question can be read a couple different ways, but it just so the board is aware, there is another interested party in the business, although the licensees are appropriately listed here at 25 and 5%, no problem legally from us, but the board should be aware that there is another interested party in the business that owns part of this restaurant or establishment.
Thank you, Mr. Wiles. And I'll just say that the documents I think submitted for the LLC bear that out and give the percentages of ownership. Those should be available to the board members.
Great. Legal is satisfied, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. So how many staff members are you all planning on hiring? I know Ms. Squires is going to be the pastry chef. Are there any other people who are going to be hired as staff members?
Yeah, so I think we're in a unique situation with COVID. So we're planning on kind of starting off with the skeleton staff. We won't have seating indoors right away. So, you know, Brown staff, we have about 8 people on staff. So we were looking at, I think it was, 8 to 15 eventually.
Okay. And are you planning on having the staff members that you're hiring, who are, I guess, for lack of a better term, going to be front of the house, if you will, since I know it's a small location. Are you planning on having them trained, tips trained, or alcohol awareness trained? Okay, great. And again, you guys, I know that you're all in a unique situation with COVID, and you were planning on opening earlier. But if this license is approved tonight, when do you want to pick it up? What's the earliest date that you would want to pick it up?
As early as we can.
So I know that they're going to have a few items to satisfy, but I think they would hopefully pick it up to be open and serving alcohol potentially within the next month.
Okay.
And I know the board is referring to, the chairman's referring to his rule about when is the date when the clock starts running. I suspect that they would be prepared to pick this license up before March 1st.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all that I have. I'll turn it over to the other board members to see if anybody has any additional questions.
We discussed the staff being trained. Are the bunkers trained for alcohol test trained? You are. Okay, good.
So is Lisa.
We're all trained.
Good. Thank you.
There are a few items I noticed on your application that require approval, one from the health department, the other from the fire department, that are pending. Can you give us an update on these items, please?
Yeah, so we're looking at having our use, I think, and our health department licenses finalized probably next week. So the fire marshal came back, he had us add some pull to our alarm system, but I think we, for the most part, have passed the building and all the other inspections. So we just have to finalize the health, which we're kind of at the end of that checklist, and then they'll come back and they'll finalize the use. I understand it.
I would suggest to the chairman that if this application is approved, it will be contingent upon the satisfaction of these outstanding items. In other words, when fire department and the health department give you approval, then the license can go forward.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Mr. Lyman, anything else you or your clients would like to add?
Just to put a capstone on this, I do believe that the board does have sufficient evidence to consider the application appropriately. I'll spare the board the citations from Alcoholic Beverage Article 4210. I know, Mr. Fraley, you're quite familiar with those requirements. And I would just ask the board to encourage the bunkers. I think that Annapolis needs support for businesses in its community, and that the bunkers, I believe, are fit and proper persons, as I said, and they're really trying to put their heart in the right place by starting a venture like this. Their plans predated COVID, and they're going to do the best that they can, and they're hoping to have a soft opening soon and see where that can lead in our kind of community recovery from the pandemic. So I just mentioned that, you know, they've been struggling. They've been kind of delayed on some of their items. They've been working hard on their build out, and this represents a significant investment. And you know, this particular property does need to have the retail space begin to be filled out to make it a successful and viable project there on the West Street corridor. So those are my final comments.
All right, well, thank you very much. With that, do I hear a motion for this request for a new Class B4 AB beer and light wine license on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during hours, and in addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours by Joel Bunker and Colleen Bunker for the entity known as Curate Annapolis LLC, trading as Curate Annapolis, located at 141 West Street, Unit 102, Annapolis, Maryland 21401, with the caveat that before the license is issued, the final approval from the fire department, health department, and any other approvals must be satisfied.
Motion approved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of this new license, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Your request is granted. Best of luck.
Yeah, good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
All right. So that is the only item we have for our public hearing. And with that, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And we'll roll into the substitutions this evening. The next item on our agenda is a request for a substitution for Mission Barbecue Downtown Annapolis LLC. It's actually Mission BBQ Downtown Annapolis LLC, trading as Mission BBQ, located at 142 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. The new licensee proposed is Jody Callis, and the licensee being deleted is Janet Robertson. Do we have anybody here on behalf of Mission BBQ Downtown Annapolis LLC?
I don't believe we do, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
If I'm mistaken, could they please hit the little raised hand at the bottom, because I don't see them.
All right, well, if they're not here, if it's all right with the members of the board, I'd suggest that we can come back to this at the end of our substitutions to see if anybody appears. Just put it to the end and we'll make a final call for it. And please remind me to do that because I'll probably forget. So, all right, we'll move along to the next item, which is another request for substitution for Lighthouse Social Enterprises LLC, trading as Lighthouse Bistro, located at 202 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. The new licensee proposed is James McIntyre, and the licensee being deleted is Elizabeth Kinney. And so who do we have here tonight on behalf of Lighthouse Social Enterprises LLC?
Jim McIntyre.
Hi, Jim. Could you state your full name and address for the record, please?
Sure. James McIntyre, McIntyre, 1916 Carrollton Road, Annapolis, 21409.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And are you the only person appearing on behalf of Lighthouse Social Enterprises LLC tonight, to your knowledge?
I am.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're going to be on this license, the purpose for the substitution, and anything else you think is relevant.
Okay. Elizabeth Kinney is the woman that I'm replacing. she was really the one that got the Lighthouse and the Lighthouse Bistro really going. She has made a decision to pull back, so she's pulled back and retiring from the board. I took her place. I am now chair of the board of directors for the Lighthouse Bistro LLC. We are a single member LLC. Wholly owned, single member is the Lighthouse Inc. LLC on Hudson Street. We've operated the bistro now for several years. I think, and this is a continuation, and I'm, being proposed to take her place as she's retired.
Okay.
Anything else I can tell you?
Are you going to be involved in the day-to-day operations of Bistro?
I mean, yeah, I will be involved in the day-to-day operations as chair of the board. We do have a general manager. It's a woman, Beth Rocca, who is in charge of day-to-day operations and management of the restaurant and the entire staff. And we've got a management structure under her, a couple of assistant managers, and then the front and the back of the house staff.
Okay, but you're not planning on being physically present to serve alcohol or to put tables or anything?
No.
Okay. Your substitution is based on the board's requirements regarding a qualifying applicant?
That's correct.
Okay, great. You do understand, though, however, by placing your name on the license, that you could potentially be liable for any violations that the Lighthouse Bistro may incur, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions from any of the board members for Mr. McIntyre?
I move that we accept them.
Okay, I gotta read it into the record one more time, Dick.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, no additional questions for Mr. McIntyre? Okay. Well, with that, do I hear a motion for this request for substitution for, I almost read the wrong one. I almost read Mission Barbecue. Substitution for Lighthouse Social Enterprises, LLC, trading as Lighthouse Bistro, 202 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. New licensee would be James McIntyre, and the deletion of Elizabeth Kinney.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, the motion has been made and seconded. Any additional questions or comments from the board? All those in favor of this substitution, please signify by saying aye.
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 Passes. Best of luck.
Thank you. And I want to thank Ms. Gaines for helping us get the paperwork and everything ready too. So she was good.
Good.
We agree with you. She is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Keeps us in line.
She didn't let it lapse, which was great. So, all right. Well, thank you all.
All right, thanks for your time.
Mhm.
All right. Next up, another substitution. We have a request for a substitution for Historic Inns Beverage, Inc., trading as the Maryland Inn, 16 Church Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed is James Werner, and the licensee being deleted is Bruce Nairn. Good evening, council. I assume you're here representing Historic Inns Beverage, Inc. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Daryl Strayer. I'm the general manager.
Just a second, Mr. Strayer. I was talking to Ms. Schreckengast, actually.
My apologies.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, not a
Leanne
problem.
Schreckengast with Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed here on behalf of the applicants.
Okay, thank you. All right. And Ms. Schreckengast, go right ahead and tell us about this substitution, what you think we need to know.
I'm sorry, I was muted when I first came on. Did you call the Maryland Inn first, or did you call Governor Calvert House?
This is Maryland Inn first.
Got it. Sorry about that.
No problem. We'll do Calvert House next.
So with respect to the Maryland Inn, we James Werner is replacing Bruce Nairn as a licensee for this location. The gentleman you just heard from briefly was Daryl Strayer. He's the general manager of this location, is just here in case the board has any operational questions we cannot address. Mr. Werner is the Annapolis or the city of Anne Arundel County resident who will be replacing Bruce Nairn. He is a fit and proper person. His background check has been received by Ms. Gaines. He is a stockholder of Historic Beverage Inns, Inc., and is the Assistant Secretary of Historic Beverage Inns, Inc. He will not be involved in the day-to-day operations of the hotel, as that's Mr. Strayer's responsibility, but has received a copy of this board's rules and regulations and understands his obligations as a licensee. I can say that the operation of the hotel is not changing as a result of this licensee substitution. It's just that Mr. Nairn has decided to retire.
Okay. Do any members of the board have any questions regarding this substitution request?
I have none.
No. Cindy?
I had a quick question for Leanne. You said the fingerprints are in. My records indicate that I've not received them from Mr. Warner. I have received them from Mr. Cook, but I have not received Mr. Warner's fingerprints yet.
I will forward you his results. They have come in. I'm surprised you didn't get an email from that, but I will send them over to you.
Okay. All right, with any additional questions based on Cindy's question regarding the fingerprints? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion regarding this request for a substitution for Historic Inns Beverage, Inc., trading as Maryland Inn, location 16 Church Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401, new licensee, James Warner, and the licensee being deleted, Bruce Nairn.
For approval, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or discussion from the board?
No.
All right, all those in favor of this substitution request, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, this request is granted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Commissioners.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Schrecken, guys, don't go anywhere. Next on the agenda here is a request for a substitution for Governor Calvert House Beverage, Inc., trading as Governor Calvert House, 58 State Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. New licensee proposed for this substitution is Stephen Cook, and the licensee being deleted is Adele Grail. Ms. Schreckengast is here on behalf of the Governor Calvert House Beverage, Inc. Just say your name one more time for the record, and you can take the floor.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Leanne Schreckengast with Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed here on behalf of Governor Calvert House Beverage, Inc. As you indicated, Mr. Chair, again, this is a resident licensee substitution. Stephen Cook is a longtime Anne Arundel County resident who will be replacing Ms. Creel. Again, the operation of this location is not changing as a result of this corporate officer substitution. Mr. Cook is a stockholder of Governor Calvert House Beverage, Inc. He also serves as the Assistant Secretary of this location. He too has received a copy of this board's rules and regulations and understands that he would be responsible to this board should any violations occur at the hotel.
Okay. Any questions from any members of the board, City Attorney, or Ms. Gaines?
No, sir.
Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion regarding this substitution request for Governor Calvert House Beverage, Inc., trading as Governor Calvert House, located at 58 State Circle, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401, with the new licensee being Stephen Cook and the licensee being deleted as being Adele Grail?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any additional discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Request is granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hope you all have a great evening.
Thanks,
You
you
too.
too.
Two.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, next is another substitution request. We have a request for actually an addition of a licensee for 109-111 Hillsmere Drive, Inc., trading as Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits, located at 109-111 Hillsmere Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403. The new licensee proposed is Randall Fisher, with no deletion of licensee. Who do we have here tonight on behalf of 109-111 Hillsmere Drive, Inc.?
Chuck Farrar. And Randy Fisher's with him, but he's muted, I see.
Oh, he's muted. Yeah, Mr. Fisher, if you could take.
I'll try it now.
Okay.
Great. Mr. Fisher, are you the attorney for the corporation?
I am not. Yeah, well, yes, I am. I take it back.
Sorry, loaded question. All right, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Randall D. Fisher, 315 Beech Grove Court, Millersville, Maryland, 21108.
Thank you. And Mr. Farrar, if you don't mind doing the same, just so we have it.
Sure. Charles Farrar, 3021 Bennett Point Road, Queenstown.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Mr. Fisher, why don't you tell us a little bit about your request to be added to this license? And I guess, Mr. Farrar, if you want to chime in as well, go right ahead.
Well,
Thank
yes,
you.
I need
Chuck,
Randy.
go ahead.
All right, Randy. As you see, my address is Queenstown. I need a qualifying member now. And I'm semi-retired and Randy is our attorney and he's going to be our qualifying resident.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll add to it that I have reviewed the board's rules and regulations and am aware as the qualified resident that I would be responsible for any actions that would happen and require adjudication.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Thank you. Now, do any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Farrar or Mr. Fisher?
Mr. Farrar, you've been there a long time, so you're going to semi-retire?
Semi is right, yes. I haven't been in the store since March of last year, though.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
But I plan to be back in every day, like I always was, but I only work 2 or 3 hours a day.
Great. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions from board members?
No.
All right. Do I hear a motion regarding this request for the addition of a licensee for 109 to 111 Hillsmere Drive, Inc., trading as Bay Ridge Wine and Spirits, located at 109 to 111 Hillsmere Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403. New licensee being added is Randall Fisher with no deletion.
I move.
I'll second.
All right, the motion has been moved and seconded, assuming no additional discussion from the board. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of this request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, this request is granted.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
all.
Chairman.
Thank you all for your time.
Good night.
Enjoy, enjoy, Chuck.
Thank you, Dick. Turn it off.
All right. Okay. Next up, we have a request for a substitution of a licensee for Vita Nuova LLC, trading as Bella Italia, 609B Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed is Hunter W. Hammond with the deletion of Kemp Hammond. Who here is representing Vita Nuova?
Good evening, Benjamin Henry from Hyatt and Weber, PA, 200 Westgate Circle, Suite 500, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401, on behalf of Vita Nuova.
Okay. And Ms. Hammond, if you don't mind giving us your full name and address for the record, just so we have it.
Sure, it's Hunter W. Hammond, and I'm at 214 Linden Avenue, Annapolis, 21401.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Henry, go right ahead and tell us about this substitution request.
So this substitution is to replace Kemp W. Hammond, who is now serving as a judge in our district court. Ms. Hammond has been a resident at her current address for, I believe, 10 years. She has been a real property taxpayer and registered voter in the city of Annapolis for 2 years. Has not been convicted of a felony or judged guilty of any offense in the laws of the state of Maryland or the United States. She's currently a 1% interest owner in the LLC and holds office. She has a pecuniary interest. She has been provided a copy of the rules and regulations regarding this and has reviewed the same. She understands that she is subject to answering to the board for any violations and has been advised of the same. And if my understanding is correct, is willing to accept the responsibilities and liabilities that come with that. Ms. Hammond, is that correct?
That's all correct, yes.
All right, thank you. And based on the application and seeing that this is really a substitution to serve the qualifying applicant requirements of this board, I'm assuming that Ms. Hammond is not going to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the business.
That is correct. It's going to remain largely as it has in the past.
Okay, great. Any questions from any members of the board regarding this request? Okay. All right, hearing none, do I have a motion regarding this request for substitution of a licensee for Vita Nuova LLC trading as Bella Italia, 609B Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. New licensee proposed, it would be Hunter Hammond with the deletion of Kemp Hammond.
Motion to approve.
A second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any additional discussion or questions from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor of this substitution request, please signify by saying aye.
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 Granted, thank you all.
You.
All right. Okay, next up is a request for a substitution of licensee for JDZJ LLC, trading as Nano Asian, located at 189A Main Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed is, and I apologize if I mispronounce this name, Marcus Enrique Pineda Pearl Era, with the licensee being deleted, Chen Lin Wang. Who here do we have tonight representing JDZJ LLC?
I am Marcos Enrique Pineda Pereira, substituting for Ling Wang.
Okay. All right, Marcus, if you don't mind giving us your address for the record, just to make sure we have it correct.
Yeah, it is 312 Oakwood Road, Edgewater, Maryland, 21037.
And it looks like we have somebody else here too. Wei Feng Wu.
Hi. Hi, my name is Wei Feng Wu, and the address is going to be 70 Catoctin Court, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20906.
Okay, great. All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about this substitution request, the reason for the substitution request, those sorts of things.
All right. Me or?
Either or. I mean, if you have a little bit of an echo, so it might be better for the proposed licensee Marcos to give us a little bit of background.
So, I am his friend, and I am one of the ones that qualified for a liquor license. So he asked me to help him out with that.
Okay. What's your involvement with the day-to-day operation of Nano Asian Dining?
So I would just be here checking the IDs, make sure that they're up to age, they're over 21, and checking that their IDs are real and valid.
Okay, so do you work there currently?
No.
Okay. Are you planning on starting to work there, or are you just kind of filling a spot as the qualifying applicant?
Yes.
Okay. The latter?
Yes, just filling the spot.
Okay. Have you, what we always ask for these substitutions, have you received a copy of this board's rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand the potential consequences that come with being on a liquor license in the city of Annapolis?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Any questions from the board regarding this substitution for either Mr. Wu or, yep, Dick, go ahead. You're muted.
Mute.
You're still muted, Dick.
Marcos, on your application, you have put that you are going to be involved in the day-to-day management. Is that correct?
No.
No, you are not involved in day-to-day management.
No.
You do have a financial interest in the restaurant, right?
Yes.
So I want to make sure I'm clear in understanding. You're not going to be serving alcohol, correct? You're just, when you are there, you'll be checking IDs and so forth?
Correct.
How often do you expect to be there?
Throughout the week, time of service from 6 when operation runs from 11 to 9.
How many days a week?
3 days a week.
3 days a week. Are you tips trained?
What is
For
that?
Are you tips trained for serving alcohol?
Yes.
Any additional questions for either of the representatives here tonight? Okay. Well, hearing none, do I hear a motion regarding this request for a substitution of licensee for JDZJ LLC, trading as Nano Asian Dining, located at 189A Main Street, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. The new licensee proposed being Marcus Perella, with the deletion of Chen Lin Wang.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any additional discussion, any members of the board?
No, good luck.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This request is granted. Best of luck.
Thanks, everybody.
You. Okay. Next up, we have a request for a substitution of a licensee for Round Tower LLC, trading as Castle Bay Irish Pub, 193A Main Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed is Vincent Quinlan, with the deletion of licensee Virginia Jones. And I see we have Mr. Quinlan here tonight. If you could just state your full name and address for the record so we have it.
Vincent Quinlan, 104 Lee Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
All right, thank you. And if you could just tell us a little bit about this substitution.
Virginia Jones, she is leaving for family and health reasons, and I'm a part owner at Castle Bay. I've one other silent partner, but I've owned it mostly myself. I've been there for 22 years. I'm the general manager. I'm there 7 days a week and have been for the last 22 years. And I'm fully versed that I know I'm responsible for any incidents that might happen against, serving of minors or wherever, all that stuff. I know I'd be responsible.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Quinlan from the board? No? Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion regarding this request for a substitution of a licensee for Round Tower LLC, trading as Castle Bay Irish Pub, 193A Main Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed is Vincent Quinlan with the deletion of Virginia Jones.
I move.
I second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any additional questions, comments, discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, Mr. Quinlan, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we'll combine items 11 and 12 on the agenda tonight. I do note that there was a correction on the name of one of the applicants. It was previously listed as Jeffrey Rotten. However, I understand the correct name of the proposed licensee is Jeffrey Howard. So we'll combine the next two items, which in totality are a request for a substitution of two licensees for Dock Street Enterprises, Inc., trading as Dock Street Bar and Grill, located at 136 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The first new licensee proposed is Rhea Torren with the deletion of Kyle Fox, and the second licensee proposed is Jeffrey Howard with the deletion of Helen Fox. I see Mr. Buck is here tonight for Dock Street Enterprises, Inc. If you don't mind stating your name and address for the record, Mr. Buck, and introducing the prospective licensees.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Christopher Buck, B-U-C-K. My address is 1604 Bayhead Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21409. I'd like to introduce both Rhea Torren and Jeffrey Howard, who are with us. Rhea is on the tab noted as Michael Roten. And Mr. Howard, as you can see, is the pretty guy at the bottom left, at least on my screen. And I understand that pretty much everybody through the course of this hearing tonight on the substitutions is proffered. So if it's amenable to the board, I'd like to do the same thing on behalf of both after they provide their names and addresses.
Yeah, that's fine. If we could just get their names and addresses like you stated, that would be fantastic.
Rhea, would you like to first state your full name and address?
Sure. Rhea Torian, 968 Yachtsman Way, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
Mr. Howard? You're on mute. You're on mute. There you go.
Got it. Sorry about that, guys. Jeffrey Wayne Howard, 190 Campus Green Drive, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buck. floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, first, I'd like to state that both of the applicants have been provided the rules and regulations of the City of Annapolis Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, and both are familiar with the contents thereof. The purpose of this substitution is so that the two of the 16 Fox family's children can move on and do other things. Kyle and Helene. Helene obviously has gone in a different direction than the food industry, and Kyle has some other things up his sleeve. So we would like to bring in two folks who will be there on a day-to-day basis. As I said, familiar with the rules, the regulations, and are familiar with them. Both are registered voters and taxpayers in Anne Arundel County for the past 2 years and hold each 1% of stock in Dock Street Enterprises. One is the treasurer, one's the secretary of the company as well. Neither have held a liquor license or been convicted of a crime. And they understand that they must strictly follow all of the alcohol beverage control rules, regulations, and those of the state of Maryland in regards to the sale and provisioning of alcoholic beverages, and will be responsible as a license holder should anything in the negative happen in their particular bar or restaurant. I will tell you that both will be there regularly as employees and also managerial positions, and have been for the better part of the existence of the establishment. All are tips trained, as everyone in this establishment is. This establishment, as you know from or may not know, is one of the tightest run ships in the land. They have a doorman every day, every evening. They take what they do seriously. And these two individuals are perfect substitutes for the individuals that would like to be released from the license. So I would offer them up as not only qualified, but exemplary license holders of this particular license.
Okay. Thank you. Do any members of the board have any questions for either of the proposed licensees?
It's not really a question, more of like a compliment. I heard from some other local business owners about how tight of a ship you run, and I've witnessed it myself, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys staying on top of everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else from any members of the board? Okay. Hearing nothing. Do I hear a motion regarding this request for the substitution of licensees for Dock Street Enterprises, Inc., trading as Dock Street Bar and Grill, 136 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. It'd be a substitution of two licensees. The first proposed licensee is Rhea Torin with the deletion of Kyle Fox, and the second substitution would be Jeffrey Howard with the deletion of Helene Fox.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any additional questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor of the substitution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, your request is granted. Best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all board members. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and the kind words. Thank you, and stay healthy.
And thank you, Ms. Gaines. I echo that you're the greatest. Without you, I don't know what we'd do. Appreciate it. Right, bye-bye.
Anybody show up from Mission BB? Oh, it looks like we have people here from Mission BBQ. All right. Bear with me 1 second here. So I will recall an item on our agenda, which was a request for substitution for Mission BBQ Downtown Annapolis LLC, trading as Mission BBQ, located at 142 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. New licensee proposed is Jody Callis, and the licensee being deleted is Janet Robertson. So who here do we have tonight on behalf of Mission BBQ Downtown Annapolis LLC?
Mr. Chairman, I'm Nicholas Callis, and I'm the attorney for Mission Barbecue. And to my right is Jody Callis, who is the requested licensee.
Okay. Mr. Callis, if you don't mind just quickly stating your name and address to make sure we have it for the record correctly. And then if Ms. Callis, and I'm assuming you two are related, could also do the same.
It's Nicholas Callis, 90 Cathedral Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Jody Callis, 211 Prince George Street, 21401.
Excellent.
Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Mr. Callis, go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it is a great honor to represent Mission Barbecue, and it's just uncountable good deeds with respect to involvement in the community, and certainly for our first responders. This particular restaurant is truly a family restaurant. It caters to families. It has very limited alcohol sales. It's beer sales, I believe, this year in 2020 will be less than $10,000 a year. The license has been utilized purely as an accommodation to our customers. Everyone is served only with food. You can't go in and have a beer just because you want to have a beer. Mrs. Callis is sitting to my right. I've had quite a long acquaintance with her, but she presently serves on 3 alcoholic beverage licenses for Mission Barbecue. And I've apprised her of the rules and regulations of this board. I've further apprised her of her responsibility as a licensee. And she is fully aware that notwithstanding whether she participates, has knowledge of, or is in any way involved with a violation of this board's rules, or with respect to the laws of the city or the state, that she accepts that responsibility and does so knowingly and willingly. Mrs. Callis is a qualified voter, registered voter. She's been a resident of the city of Annapolis for 2 years. She meets all of the qualifications and requirements of the board. And Mr. Callis, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Did you complete the application that is before the board today?
Yes, I did.
Was everything true and correct in that application when you completed it?
Yes,
Is everything true and correct as of today?
yes,
You understand and accept the full responsibilities that you have as a licensee on this establishment?
yes, I do.
Mr. Chairman, that's what we would move forward our application with the request of the board's approval. There will be no changes in the operation of Mission Barbecue, no changes with respect to their modus of operandi, conduct of their business. They will continue as they have. Now we're over 88 stores, of which Annapolis is proudly a flagship for the entire Mission Barbecue family.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much. Do any board members have any questions for Mr. and Ms. Callis?
Great.
Okay. Well, we'll make it easy for you. With that, do I hear a motion regarding this request for a substitution for Mission BBQ Downtown Annapolis LLC, trading as Mission BBQ, located at 142 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The new licensee proposed being Jody Callis, and the licensee being deleted is Janet Robertson.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any additional questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Congratulations, this request is
Thank
approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may also add, again, you've heard it previously from the previous applicant and attorney. Ms. Gaines has done nothing but help us. And she has a very dual focus on behalf of the board. Do it right, and I'll help you all we can. And we are very, very grateful.
We are very lucky to have her on board. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my God, 3.
All right. So. All right. The last items that we have to discuss would be done in an executive session. So with that, I would move that we reconvene in executive session.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.